that mentioned in the poll that they've never developed a proposal, they will still have some experience because they may have been involved in program development or strategic planning or what have you. And your proposal basically is just a description of your program or part of your program. And typically, if you have a good strategic program plan, a plan for your organization, what you want to do, who you're going to target, what type of activities you will implement, then you already have an overall proposal, and you can take bits and pieces of that and adapt it for the purposes of an application. Now, I do have to tell you, I think proposals are not as important as some of the other fundraising techniques. Of course, they are important and they have to be of good quality in the end. But proposals in and of themselves will not get you funding under most circumstances. And a proposal usually is at the end of a process. I have often not seen that the first thing I do is develop a big proposal, send it to a donor, and then the funding will come. That almost never happens. You will do the research, find donors that are good for your cause, that are interested in what you do. You will network with them. You're going to ask them what it is the problems they want to solve. You will build a relationship with that donor, and then you send them a proposal. Why create huge proposals without even knowing if the donor is interested? It's a waste of time. There are some exceptions, for example, the announcements on funds for NGOs, etc., where you're asked to do an application, and please don't contact us. Contact us. In those cases, yes, you go straight to a proposal. Let's talk a little bit about proposal, some of the questions we got. Megan.
Yes, so we have a ton of questions on this. It's a very popular topic. We see questions here from Lois and Lovina about proposal writing. We also had questions from Jeffrey, what are donors looking for in a funding proposal? Questions, how competitive is the proposal review process? Samia wanted to know how do we include sustainability in the proposal, and then Magnolia wanted to know how do we show impact in proposals. So a lot of different questions. So anything to discuss with that, Eric?
Yeah, let me just, I don't know if I can go into extreme detail to all of those questions, but let me just give you an outline of what I think is very important. A is develop a problem tree. You want to make sure, and when you see it here, you see a problem has a cause, there's a problem, and there's an effect relationship, and you want to map that out. So for example, what we want to, there are a lot of, I'm working in a village where a lot of children are dying. Okay, there's a high child mortality rate, under 5 child mortality. Let's give that as an example. That actually is an effect. The real problem is that children are getting diarrheal disease, gastrointestinal disease. So they're getting diarrhea, and that's creating a lot of child deaths. And actually diarrhea, I do know that, is a major source of under 5 mortality rates. Children are dying of that. So that's the problem. But what is causing this problem? So we want to look at what the cause is, because that's the problem we want to address. And the cause may be that the water sources are contaminated. The toilets or people are using toilets too close to water sources that they drink. There's limited hand washing. People don't know about proper hygiene and sanitation, etc. So that's the cause. That causes children to get sick, and in the end causes some of those sick children to die. So if we can fix the underlying cause, then we can solve a large part of the problem and the effects that it's having. And I think a donor wants to see this explained. So in a first part of a proposal, you want to make sure that you very clearly describe what this relationship between the cause, the problem, and the effect is. Clearly show that what you are trying to do is dealing with that cause. Now, the second part of that is that it's crucial that this problem and effect that you've identified, that this is a problem the donor wants to solve. So make sure you research that and put that in your proposal. Now, some of the typical components of a good proposal: a short executive summary, half a page to a page, because especially bigger proposals that are 5, 10, 20 pages, lots of people don't want to read all of that. Can you imagine if you're sitting at the Gates Foundation and you get 500 proposals and they're all 50 pages long? No, that's a pain in the neck. So an executive summary is a good thing to have, because then people can very quickly understand what it is you're trying to do. Justification, background, and that's what I just explained about the cause, the problem, and the effect. What is it that you're trying to solve? Then the program overview. What's the objective of the program? What are the specific activities? Be specific. And what is the strategy? How are you going to implement those activities? Those are some the first typical components. And then if we go a little bit further, then we put in impact and indicators of success, and there are two basically: output and impact. An output indicator is proof that you've implemented the activity. If one activity is training for 30 women's health workers, then the output is 30 women's health workers trained. It's the activity implemented, as simple as that. So that shows that what you said you would do, you did. That's an output, and you can have an output indicator for that. The impact is, for example, in the case of children dying, is the increase in the number of people washing their hands. The reduction in under 5 mortality, etc.
Yeah, we just had a quick question. If you could clarify the problem tree, just what was the cause, the problem, and the effect?
Okay, the cause. Let me in the case of this under 5 mortality, the cause, the underlying cause of the problem, is that there are bad hygiene practices, or the water sources are contaminated. The drinking water is dirty, and people are not washing their hands after using the bathroom. And that is the problem is children getting sick, and they're getting sick because they're drinking dirty water and getting diarrhea, and their hands and the hands of other people in the community are dirty, and they're putting things in their mouth that are dirty. So that's the problem, and that therefore they're getting sick. The final effect of that is that some of those children are dying from that sickness. That is the problem tree. I hope that was clear. But you can go back to the video later on and see how I've explained it in more detail. Okay, so then the impact indicator is, like I said, is the proof that you've dealt with the problem, that there's an improvement in the situation, less children dying, for example. Then organizational capacity. I would say something about that, about your NGO, how important your NGO is for the community, how long you've been working, the impact you've been having, the wonderful people working with your NGO, such as staff. You can put in board biographies, etc. If you are a new NGO and you don't have a lot of experience yet, then talk about the experience of the staff. If I have a new NGO and I've worked in this area for 20 years, then you can use that to show the capacity of the NGO to have impact. And then, of course, a budget or a budget number would be good. Talk a little bit about how much it's going to cost. A lot of donors want to know how much it will cost, and be specific in that. Okay, quickly, proposal do's and don'ts. Let's start with the don'ts. Don't send huge amounts of material. I've already told you nobody wants to read a 50-page document. If if they can understand the program in 5 pages. Don't submit the same proposal to all funders. Make some adaptations to it so they know you put in the work to adapt it. Don't make big changes just to fit the donor criteria. If a donor is interested in environment and you work in health, don't all of a sudden create an environmental health program, even though that's not what your NGO does, just to get money. Of course, you can make some adaptation to what you do, but try and be true to your goals and your mission. They call that mission creep if you start to do different things just to please donors. Don't inflate the budget. If it's $100,000 you need, or $10,000, or whatever the amount, budget it out correctly, properly, and make sure you do that. You don't inflate it. Also, don't make it too cheap. If you need that 100,000, don't cut it. Don't say you need 50 just because you think you will have a better chance. Now, some do's. Keep it short, like I said, not too complex. Present your NGO well. Make sure that you don't put in that there are not too many spelling mistakes and syntax errors, and then it's nicely presented. Be specific. If an activity is, I'm going to run a workshop, I see often NGOs saying, we're going to run a series of workshops for women. No, that's not a good activity. A good activity is we're going to run 3 workshops on environmental health for groups of 15 women each, 45 women in total. Then a donor can really understand what it is you want to do, and donors then can also you can budget it out. So and they will see how many people you train, how many people you reach, etc. Okay, some more do's. Keep it simple. Don't use big flowery language. Simple language is absolutely fine. Explain acronyms and try not to use acronyms. Sometimes I see page after page of acronyms. It's a pain for a donor to read that. And assume that the donor is not that familiar with what you do, who you are, where you work, etc. Then tell a story. Donors are people. They want to know that the money they invest in your NGO has an impact on real people or the environment or animals or whatever the case may be. If you are working on child labor, tell the story of a child laborer, of a girl working on stone cutting, for example. So put stories and case studies in your proposal if you can. Okay, those are my tips and tricks. Megan?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And we will have additional webinars on proposal writing and budgeting in November and December, so keep an eye out for those. And I think we've reached the end of our hour here today. So thanks, Eric. And just as we close out this webinar, a few details for following up. We'll have an evaluation that'll pop up on your screen at the end, so we would appreciate if you would fill that out and give us some feedback, future webinar topics, things like that. Also, some upcoming fundraising webinars. If you're interested in viewing any of those or ones that we've done in the past, you can visit webinars.fundsforngos.org to find out more information. And also, a recording of this webinar will be made available, and hopefully we'll be able to post it on YouTube for everyone to go back and refer to.
Yeah, and also, of course, you posted all the questions on the forum, and in due course, we will try and answer some of the more specific questions, because I know not all questions got answered. We will try and answer some of those questions in the forum, and we encourage all of you, all the users of Funds for NGOs and the forum users, to try and discuss these questions, because we all have good information and experience to share, and we should all help each other fundraise.
Yeah, we got some great comments here today, so we should definitely bring some of that to the forum. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody, and good luck in your fundraising. And
yeah, if you want any more information, fundsforngos.org, and be sure to sign up for the free email funding alert service. And more information on Eric and myself you can find at philanthropia.org. And so, yeah, thanks everyone, and best of luck fundraising.
Thanks. Bye.